directing my life. I liked to believe it was my father and my namesake, Alfraed. I did not think it blasphemous to believe such things. When I died, I believed I would go to heaven. Why should my father and his best friend not be in heaven too? Perhaps they were watching and guiding me. My father had always enjoyed setting me puzzles and tasks to stretch my mind. Mayhap this was another such. Chapter 1. Edward did not arrive back until late winter. The snows had been bad in the north, and he had been trapped by roads made impassable by the snowfall. I was pleased to see him when he arrived at my castle. When I saw him, I engaged in small talk. I was nervous about divulging my news. "How is Sir Hugh?" "He has made the Roman wall secure, Baron, and it prospers. It is now a fine domain. We killed many wolves when we were there, for the hunting is good." My look must have startled him, for he said, "What is it, my lord? Have you seen a ghost?" I led him to my eastern tower. I showed him my new ring. "I am now the Earl of Cleveland." "That is good news. But what troubles you? The elevation is good news, and yet your face was one of shock." I told him of my discoveries and the wolf. He nodded. "I understand. This is almost witchcraft, my lord." "I know." Then I unburdened myself and told him of the letter from Wulf the Swabian. "You can do nothing about this, my lord. I know of your feelings and those of the Empress, but sometimes these things are not meant to be. You must obey our lord and master the king, and we must defend this land. That is our duty. You are married, and there is no honour in coveting the wife of another man, no matter how young he is. And if the Empress comes to my home? I pray that she will not. If she did, then I fear that the world we know would end. The king would not countenance such an open act of disobedience." He paused. "Know that I will stand by you and the Empress no matter what happens." "I know, but this is my problem, and I will deal with it." As the winter drew closer to spring, it seemed that the Empress would not visit with me as Rolf had intimated. During a visit from one of the priests from York upon his way to Durham, I discovered a possible reason. Roger of Mandeville, one of King Henry's most trusted commanders, had been given the Tower, and therefore London to guard. Matilda was under his protection. She stayed in the Tower. It was more likely that Sir Roger was her guard. He was a loyal and ancient friend of the king who would not gainsay him. She would not be travelling north. I actually felt relief, for I did not know how I would have coped had the Empress visited me. Our news came from such visitors. The ferry across the river was a safe route from York to Durham. It was why I had built the castle here in the first place. My father had been given Norton, some 4 miles north of us. I recognised, as did my father, the value of this river crossing. Father Ralph, the priest, spent a night with us, telling us news, gossip, and the changes that were being wrought in the land. Our other news-carrier would be Olaf and Di, the 2 sea captains, who used my port to trade. Like visitors on foot, they knew there would be a welcome, and they knew that they would be safe. The land was still a dangerous place for travellers, both on land and sea. I threw myself into the management of my manor. I now had another 6 men-at-arms. They were recruited from the Varangian Guard. They reminded me in many ways of Athelstan and my father's Oathsworn. All were still warriors at their peak, but they were looking for a quieter life. I made them the guard for my castle. They did not ride, but they were all doughty warriors who had served the most powerful man on earth. Ere was their leader, and he would command. They could still take the field if needed, but I knew that my family would be as safe as any with their swords to guard them. Now that the king had given me my seal, I incorporated that into my coat of arms. I paid the women of the town to sew them on the new surcoats I had made for me. My retainers